When I bought the cabin by Lake Briarwood, I was chasing something rare: silence. Not the kind you get from noise-canceling headphones or remote hotel rooms. I mean the deep, bone-settling silence that you only recognize after decades of surviving chaos. After 22 years serving in the military, Afghanistan, Iraq, Somalia, and more places that never made the news, I didn't want to hear anything louder than a loon's call. No more helicopters. No more alarms in the middle of the night. No more people asking what I did and how I'm adjusting to civilian life. The cabin belonged to my uncle, a Vietnam veteran who spent his last years fishing and writing paranoid letters to newspapers. When he passed, he left the place to me. I let it sit for a few years, not ready to trade my camo for flannel. But then, one day, I did. I packed my gear, bought a six-pack, and drove until the GPS lost signal. That first week? Pure bliss. The dock creaked, the pantry smelled like something died in 1993, and there was a family of squirrels living in the attic insulation, but it was mine. My space. My rules. For 72 glorious hours, it felt like I'd finally outrun the noise. Then I saw the footprints. They weren't mine. Too small, too scattered. Not animal, either. I figured some teenagers had used the dock for a late-night bonfire. There were ashes in the pit, empty beer cans behind the shed, and a folding chair I didn't own left on the dock like someone had been sunbathing on my property. It was annoying but harmless. I cleaned up, posted a few signs: private property. No trespassing. Survivors will be prosecuted, and figured that would send the right message. Then came the clipboard. I was fixing a dock board when I heard the sound, the high-pitched scritch-scratch of sandals on gravel. Not boots. Not sneakers. Sandals. With arch support. I looked up. There she was. Blonde bob, oversized sunglasses, khaki capris, and a plastic smile that screamed neighborhood tyrant. And, of course, the clipboard. That damn clipboard. Dividers. Color-coded tabs. Post-it notes like bookmarks of passive aggression. "Hi there," she called, waving like we were old friends. "I'm Tracy. I'm with the Lake Briarwood Community Council." "Oh, hell." I stood slowly and wiped my hands on my jeans. "Jack Mercer," I replied. "Just moved in." Her smile tightened. "To that cabin?" "Yup. Left to me by my uncle. Fixed it up. Planning to stay." She made a note on the clipboard. I resisted the urge to ask if she needed a permit to blink. "Well," she said, with forced brightness, "just so you know, this area is technically part of the Lake Briarwood HOA." "No, it's not," I replied calmly. "Never signed anything. Property line's clear." I checked the deeds. "Well," she said again, blinking, "you're adjacent to shared spaces, and there's an understanding about lake access." "There was an understanding," I said. "But the last group left cigarette butts, half a hot dog, and a broken chair. So that understanding's been revoked." She pursed her lips until they vanished into a wrinkle. "We'll see about that." She spun on her heel and marched back to her SUV like I'd denied her oxygen. Spoiler, that wasn't the last I saw of Tracy Clipboard. She returned. Again and again. First with questions. Then with suggestions. Always uninvited. Always polite in the way dentists are before a root canal. "Would you consider leaving the gate open for community swims?" "No. We used to have potlucks here. Cindy's daughter is getting married." "Not my daughter. Not my potluck." Eventually, I started a journal, Tracy Watch, Volume 1. It had bullet points. Guilt-tripping over baptisms. Suggesting I rent out my cabin as a community escape room. I told her, every time, my land. My dock. Build your own damn pier. Then came the escalation. I installed gates. Locked when I wasn't home. Closed when I was. Nothing fancy, just a line in the sand. The message was clear. Keep out. That's when she brought backup. 2 other clipboard zealots with matching fanny packs and a pair of trembling chihuahuas. They stood at the edge of my driveway like a tribunal from hell. "We're just trying to foster cooperation," Tracy said, like she was negotiating peace in the Middle East. "We're a community." I took a long sip of coffee. "Let me ask you something, Tracy," I said. "If I wandered into your backyard, set up a barbecue, trashed the place, then complained when you installed a fence, what would you call that?" She blinked. Again. "I'd call it trespassing," I said. They left. But I knew better. Tracy wasn't defeated. She was plotting. She made her move on a Friday. I was 30 minutes out, running errands. My phone buzzed. Then again. Then again. Dock breach. Motion detected. Unauthorized manual override on the boat. Ghost. That's what I named it. My retirement boat. Matte black, whisper quiet, electric. I'd custom built her with the same paranoia that kept me alive for 2 decades. She had GPS, biometric locks, remote override, and something special, loop mode. If triggered without proper authentication, she'd lock controls and spin slowly in a wide spiral until reset manually. I opened the camera feed. There she was. Tracy. Hoodie. Gloves. No clipboard. This was Black Ops Karen mode. She fumbled with the ignition. Hit the starter. Loop mode activated. Ghost slid away from the dock, elegant and quiet. Tracy stood up, confused, then panicked as the boat circled, again and again. She flailed, shouted, tried to steer. The boat ignored her. I texted the sheriff, unauthorized person on my dock. Operating private vehicle. I have video. By the time I got home, Ghost had been looping for 40 minutes. I grabbed a chair and a root beer and sat on the dock. She screamed at the boat, then at the sky, then at me when she saw me filming. Deputy Frank Howard arrived with a paramedic. She okay? He asked. She's just dizzy, I replied, but very determined. Ghost glided back to the dock. Tracy stumbled off and collapsed on the boards. Her hair was tangled, her hoodie inside out, her ego bruised beyond repair. I showed Howard the footage, the GPS logs, the signs she ignored. He whistled. You booby-trapped your boat. Not for fun, I said. For idiots. She wasn't arrested. But the DA was looped in. So was the HOA board. 3 days later, I got served. She was suing me. Intentional psychological distress. Endangering a community leader. Misuse of aquatic vehicle in a public zone. Public zone? I nearly spit out my coffee. At mediation, her lawyer, Mitchell, spoke like he was auditioning for Law and Order, HOA unit. You weaponized your boat, he said. My boat, I replied, on my property. Donna, my attorney, ex-military jag and bulldog in heels, dropped a binder of evidence on the table. Motion sensors. Video. HOA maps proving my land was separate. Then came the kicker, a recording of Tracy saying, well, technically it's not part of the HOA, but we consider it honorary. The judge dismissed the case with prejudice. Meaning, don't come back. But Tracy had poked the wrong bear. Her actions went viral among the HOA board. They found out she'd reallocated handicap parking for her yoga instructor and declared a fire pit sacred ground. A petition to remove her passed unanimously. 1 month later, a sign went up in her yard. For sale. 2 days later, she was gone. Peace returned. I still kept my camera system online, just in case. One sensor pinged a few times, probably a breeze, or maybe the ghost of her perfume. Then Dennis arrived. A raccoon. He knocked over my beer and stared like he wanted to inspect the boat. I didn't mind. He didn't lecture me. He didn't hold town halls. He just showed up, raided my trash, and left. And honestly, that was fine by me. People ask if I'll ever move back to the suburbs, the noise, the rules about mailbox heights and trash bin etiquette. I just laugh. No thanks. If anyone tries again, I've got more surprises waiting. Ghost got upgrades. Facial recognition. Auto alerts. Dennis growls on cue now. Because peace is good. But peace with teeth? That's better. And me? I'll be on the porch. Feet up. Cold beer. Watching the sunset while Dennis finishes a stolen hot dog. Retirement never looked sweeter.